fades out. And hello, everybody. This is Neil McNally and Steve Kilcullen with To Live and Let Die in LA, the podcast.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Hello.
All
I'm
right.
Neil.
Yeah,
Steve.
and I am Steve, and this is our very first one. So we're kind of just sort of
I, I
winging
like I like how you put like on Instagram pictures of us in front of microphones, like we had like a whole thing, and the reality was that didn't work because the microphones weren't
No, yeah.
compatible. So it
Now we're just
was
recording
on
via
Zoom.
Zoom
Yeah,
on just our computer
just to get it out.
microphones and setup. Yeah, we'll get the fancy stuff figured out eventually. But
Yeah, it did look very nice though with that.
oh
So.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that once we figure out how that works, it'll be a
Mhm.
nice setup. And
Mhm.
I think it has every. My buddy of mine, I asked him. I said, "Hey, we were doing this, that, and the other," and he goes, "Oh well, do you have your phantom power
Oh.
going?" And I went, "Oh, that's oh." I hadn't used that stuff in a while, and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't.
I'm
It was user error, not
Yeah, I'm the wrong person to
nothing.
ask about that. So, but well, good. This is the first one we've talked about it. We have, for those who don't know, we started a club, social meetup club. When in like October, right? Is that when the first meeting was? Like a soft
Yeah,
opening? Yeah,
yeah. I think
Eh,
you and I started talking like
September.
September,
Yeah,
and then we kind of had our first unofficial meetup, kind of a test the waters
yeah.
in October. And yeah, and then we,
It's
yeah,
about eight
yeah,
people showed up, which was pretty good. It's kind of
yeah,
grown since then, so we've been happy about that. So we've
yeah.
done some cocktails. We had a Christmas party, which was really great with trivia and free prizes
That was a
at a
lot of fun.
pub. And we had cocktails again last month. So that was great. But really, what we've been gearing up towards, Steve, why don't you let people know what is the creme de la creme of what we've had up our sleeves for a few months now?
Oh yeah, yeah. So our first like official event was this past November, and the Culver Theater had a screening for Goldeneye. We thought this is perfect. We can just, tell, we've only been around for like a month or so, and put up some posts on Instagram and send some emails out. Hey, join us for Goldeneye, and then we went around the corner. What was the Jameson Pub
Yeah.
for drinks? It was a good theme. Goldeneye, Irish Bond,
Yeah.
drinks at an Irish pub after. And Bruce Fierstein, movie screenwriter,
Yeah.
was there, and we got to meet him, and we got to meet Tom from the Culver Theater that night, and that's how we first got introduced to the folks that run the Culver Theater. And there was a good turnout. That wasn't our event. We just sort of went, "Oh my God, this is happening!" And we,
Yeah. There are about
told
100
folks
people there, I
about it.
think. There are about 100 people,
Yeah,
or
it
a
was
little
it
bit
was
less.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
nice sized theater. It brought
Yeah.
me right back to when
Yeah.
that movie came out, and it was like, oh man, it was a lot of fun. And then cut to a couple months ago, Neil and I went and had a meeting with Tom at the Culver Theater, and we've entered into a partnership with
Yay.
them where we're going to be showing. I'm saying a lot because there's not a
That's
script in
okay.
front of me. Forgive me. There we go again.
It's all good. We're not going to cut.
Yeah.
So it's
It's only the first episode. You
yeah.
gotta be kind to us on this one. But yeah, long story even longer. We've entered into a partnership with the Culver Theater where we're going to be showing a Bond movie on the big screen every other month, starting this month, March 25th.
A Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday nights, and they're all going to be Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
About I think 7 o'clock, right? Is
Yeah. It's
the
called From Culver with Love. That's what
Yeah,
it's
from
called.
Culver with Love, Bond on the big screen.
Yay.
And we're
And
starting with Doctor No.
yeah,
The first Bond movie is going to be the first movie that we're screening. We're really excited about it.
I am. I
Uh,
love Doctor No. It's the first Bond film that I ever saw. Actually, so I have a
oh,
special
real nice.
attachment towards that. Yeah, I read the book first.
Hmm.
I read all the books first as a teen, and then I went to Blockbuster down the street, and they had it on sale for like $18. So I bought it, and that was the first Bond film that I ever saw. So I was very happy about it. So I
Oh,
was
nice.
there's a lot. Some people slag it, but I there's a lot of stuff that memory wise is really like in my head forever. So so
Yeah.
yeah,
I had seen that movie. I think the first time I'd seen bits and pieces of it, like maybe
yeah,
clips of it and
yeah,
stuff. And I remember it was like the Sunday night movie once when I
yeah,
was a kid, and I asked my parents, can I stay up and watch it? And they were like, hell no.
yeah.
And years ago, then years later in high school, when they started to re-release all the movies
Mhm.
on VHS, I started to buy them all up, and then sat down and watched it for the first time all the way through, having
Yeah.
seen already, like Moonraker and
Mm,
Octopussy and Living
mm,
Daylight, but just a ton of the other movies,
yeah.
especially the Roger Moore movies. So I'd become accustomed to, the gadgets
Mm,
and all that stuff. And at first I was really struck by, whoa, this is really different, but at the same time, it's all there.
yeah.
And I remember halfway through that first viewing when what was it, Professor Dent?
Yeah.
When he went to go see Dr. No, and he's in that crazy looking chamber and he's given the spider.
Yeah.
I, I remember my distinct thought was, yeah, I love this movie. This is
That's
this is
great.
like tops for me, man. I love it.
I think
It's got
Ken,
that weird kind of semi sci-fi bent to
yeah.
it with the rockets and the kind of production design, even though that's it was topical for the time.
I mean, I think I wanted to mention it's. I don't know if you mentioned, but these are going to be in 4K. So I can't wait to see that film in 4K.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen it at the movies. Not to my recollection. I don't think I've ever seen it at the movies. So it's going to be,
I've not seen it on the big screen. I watched it when I was at my brother's
yeah.
place. He's got a VR helmet.
Hmm. Okay,
They've got
cool.
those kind of like
Oh
movie
yeah,
theater
yeah.
emulators. So I put on Dr. No one. It was kind of like watching the big screen, but it wasn't, it was a little blurry because it's just how the VR helmets are, and but it was still pretty cool, but it made me really excited for oh man, we're gonna see these things on the big screen. That's gonna be great.
And if that wasn't good enough, okay, okay. So the film, I mean, we can put a link to the poster, but it's Doctor No, Living Daylights, Thunderball 60th anniversary,
Yep.
Die Another Day,
Yeah.
which is becoming a controversial choice a little bit from what some people are that have written me.
Really?
Some people have written me saying that why are we choosing that? And I'm just like, why not? I think we should see them all, and I don't. I mean, I'm very happy with that choice. So and
Honestly, I've via the Instagram, people have
good.
been like, "Whoa, die another day, all right."
Good. Good. I'm glad you're
Because
getting that. I'm
some
getting the
people are
people that
coming
don't like
around. Yeah,
it, which is fine. But I want people to talk. I don't want to
yeah.
we don't want to front load it with
Oh yeah.
all classics. So it's
If we did everybody's top five in the first year,
yeah,
then by the time we get to
the
it
bottom
would
five,
just be
the bottom
you
five.
know, and then nobody would say, "Why are you guys doing this?"
I
It's like,
know.
well, because you told us to do this.
I know. So it's Die Another Day, and then is it View to a Kill after that? I think that's it,
Yeah, View
right?
to a Kill is the
Which
last one of the year
gonna be great. That's a
in November.
40th anniversary one. So
We've
that's
had a
five.
few Bond fans from out of town, like our friends Ryan and Crystal Baker.
Yeah.
I got to meet them and start to get to know them at Gatherall, this past
Okay.
Gatherall in New Jersey. Ryan had mentioned, hey, we might
Good.
want to come out for View to a Kill, take a little
Nice.
trip out west. I say, hey, yeah, man,
I just
let's
rewatched
do it.
that.
That'll be great.
I just rewatched it a couple of weeks ago. That's a definitely a time capsule of a Bond film, View to a
Oh,
Kill.
totally.
But I'm super. This is like really good. LA. I don't think they've had a regular. The Culver Theater wants to show them all, plus
Yeah.
rare ones as well. Like maybe Casino Royale '67, right? Is that when it came out? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Tom had mentioned
yeah,
that. Well,
yeah.
because and full disclosure, Amazon and MGM uh said they we won't get into that just yet, but we all saw the big news not too long ago.
Hmm.
But even before that had been announced or anybody even knew that was going on, it was for us to be able to do this
Yeah,
was at with permission
yeah.
of Amazon and MGM, and because they also have Casino Royale, the 67 Casino Royale in their library, along with Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
We're going to have those movies screened on the big screen
At some
at
point.
some
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
Yeah. It's gonna
not
be great.
this year. We were kind of remember we were sort of toying with the idea of, hey, let's do Thunderball and then let's do Never Say Never Again, and then immediately went, well,
Yeah.
it's the same movie.
It is.
So
I remember when I first watched it. When I was a kid, I was like, because I didn't see it, I was like, oh, Sean Connery's back. And I remember I was like, I was like 16, and I was like, isn't this just Thunderball? So
yeah,
I was just like, isn't it just this Thunderball? And I said,
especially if you're not aware of
yeah, I
like
didn't
the
know any
behind
of
the
that stuff at that
scenes
point. I
stuff,
didn't.
and all of a sudden halfway through you're like, wait a minute, Domino, Largo, hang on a
Yeah, I
second,
remember just
this
being.
is
I enjoyed it, but I was like,
Thunderball.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I can't wait to screen
it's
that stuff. It's gonna be really
oh
fun.
yeah, that on the big screen is going to be great, especially with that soundtrack.
Yeah.
And do you remember for our members that were at our Christmas party at the Cat and Fiddle? The Cat and Fiddle were great. They
They were
were
nice.
fantastic to us. They
They're very
really treated
patient.
us.
They're very patient.
Yeah, they were awesome and very accommodating. All of a sudden, we didn't ask for this, but they turned off their Christmas music and put on Bond
One
music.
song, yeah, it
So
was great.
we had the Bond theme songs. You got Shirley
I
Bassey
think
and Sheena Easton, Duran Duran, and then all of a sudden, people throughout the entire bar that weren't even a part of the party just start looking up in distaste. They're getting up and they're walking out. And
that.
finally, one of the bartenders walks up and he goes, "Hey, man, we had to turn off that Never Say Never Again song, man,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah,
people were actively walking up to the bar and saying, 'Can
yeah,
you turn the music off,
yeah.
please?'" And we had to apologize to, but they didn't make us, but we felt like
uh,
us. Yeah,
it's
I'm
fine.
sorry, folks. That's
Yeah.
not an official song, but
I think
there are people
I
that
think
love it.
I think I did try and explain to someone that it's not part of the official, and they had no idea what I was trying to say. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, they're like, all I know is I
Yeah.
was hearing
Anyway,
it.
it was good that it was a Monday night, and we were the largest bit business that they had that night, so they were more than happy with us being there. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and also we're doing specially made curated pre-shows actually. So it's a 20-minute
Yeah.
curation of fun clips and wacky stuff that we found, all pertaining to Bond. So I'm very happy
Some
about
things
that.
you guys might have seen before, like, oh, I've run
Yeah,
across this a
some
couple.
that I didn't
There's a
see.
few
Some of us,
things that
yeah.
Neil and we're fairly well traveled when it comes to James Bond.
Mm,
But there were a couple things in
yeah.
this first one that both you and there were things you found that I was like, whoa, where did you get this? And then things that I said to you that you were like, where did you get this from, man? So we're excited because we're fairly certain that, yeah, even and there's people that in our group we're certain in the city that are going to come out that we'll meet for the first time that are well more well
Yeah,
traveled
of
with
course.
Bond than we are. That are you'll probably have a pleasant surprise or two when you see. So like I don't want to give anything away, but there was one particular clip that you found, Neil, that I had never seen
Oh,
before
really? Okay.
from a particular popular children's television
Oh, yeah, yeah.
program that I went, whoa, I thought I'd seen everything, and
I
that's
don't even
great.
think that show would do that now, actually, because that was a very like adult skewed sketch, and they're not as adult
Yeah,
skewed as they used to be. So,
yeah,
but
but
I'm not going to say what show. So,
yeah, yeah. A few people might have gone like, "Hey, I think I figured it out," but no, I think you guys are gonna have fun, and then there's gonna be themed cocktails too,
yeah, yep,
because there's of course the Culver Theater. Not only are they an amazing movie theater,
it's good.
but they've got a great bar.
Yeah, yes, they do. I saw Spectre there when it first released, and they made a
Oh,
martini that night too. So it's ironic that we're back. So,
we had you and I when we showed up a little early for Goldeneye and went, oh hey, because I had actually I lived in Los Angeles 10 years at this point. I had never been there yet.
oh yeah, it's great theater.
At least not to my memory that I could think of. But yeah, we were like,
It
oh
used to be
hey,
the
there's a
arc
bar
light.
here.
It used to be the arc light, and then when the arc
That's
light
right.
closed
Yeah.
during COVID, it was dark for a bit, and then they opened it up again about a year ago, I think. So
Oof. Thankfully too, because they do some really cool
yeah, they were
screenings
a lot
there.
of stuff.
There's Tom actually told us not too long ago. I'm going to make a posting about it, because it's happening. About I think about a week before we're doing the Living Daylights.
Mhm.
But they're going to be screening. They're doing a whole series. I believe in the. I think it's for the month of May or for the next few months. I gotta look. Forgive me if I'm getting my specifics wrong here, guys. But the I believe it's on the 19th that they're showing the first Austin Powers.
Oh, cool. I
So if
saw
you
they're
want a
doing a
little,
comedy month. That's something
yeah,
I
because
did
it's
see.
stuff like I think Top Secret,
Monty Python, I think,
which
is
is
in
one
there.
of
So
my favorites.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, the first Austin Powers, which I don't think I've seen since
yeah.
it first came out.
I mean, I've seen it many times, but it's been a while though. So, um,
It's been a long time. But that one, I definitely want to go to. That's something that's not a screening that our group
yeah,
is officially a part of, but because it is Bond adjacent, we do want people to know about it. And
yeah.
you know, it's our friends at the Culver Theater. They're
They've been
doing like a
great.
lot of cool things, and
I did
they work with another club too called what the is it the
Hellraisers, I think.
Hellfire or
Oh, hell,
Hellraiser?
yeah.
I think it's Hellraiser Social Club.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I don't want to get it wrong,
Let me.
but they do
Will you
horror
keep talking?
movies.
I'll look it up. So why don't we do that?
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but they do horror movies, and they have a great
Yeah, it's Hellraisers Film and Social Club.
that's right, yes.
Yeah.
But they do a great film series. They were doing The Thing, John Carpenter's The
Yeah.
Thing, not too long ago. I had flown out of town, I think like
Mhm.
the day that they were screening that, and I seriously considered seeing,
Oh,
well, maybe I could push
wow.
my flight a day so I can go. But
That's
I don't know.
that's impressive. No, but the Culver
Yeah.
Theater's been really great. I really want to thank Tom because I never in a million years thought they would be down for it. But Tom is also a
Yeah.
big Bond fan, so I think that helps.
Yeah.
So, and
So cool. Yeah. And
full disclosure,
the
Amazon also they own the Culver Theater too, so I think that helps. That
yeah.
helped our situation because a lot of people that have screened Bond films in the past, it's I don't know the logistics, but it's not as easy. So we were very fortunate.
Yeah.
So
This has been a very serendipitous
yeah,
so you know, because you know how what people say about timing and everything.
yeah,
This has been just timing. The way the club, even the group, kind of
yeah,
came about. I was a this past gather all got to hang out with David Zaritsky for a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, Los Angeles, what's going on in L.A., man?" And I was like, "Well, there's Bond stuff, but there's nothing like this. There's no central kind of thing where Bond people can get together." And my brother had just started going to these events because he lives in DC,
hmm
and you can find him on Instagram at the Style is my bond.
oh yeah,
And I
it's a
have to give him
wonderful
that
account.
shout out.
I've been
I
there.
have
It's
to give him that
great.
shout out because he's the guy that came up with the name for our group.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Because Zaritsky kind of put this little bug in my ear, and then even my dad was like, "Well, why don't you get together with a couple guys in LA and do stuff like this?" And I was like, "You know what? That's not a bad idea." And then, but I didn't know if anything else was happening. So I
hmm
didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And literally
Yeah,
the
there
same
wasn't.
week, but what's crazy is the same week that Neil put a posting up on Reddit, basically going, "Hey, what's going on with James Bond fans in LA? Is there a group? Does anybody want to do meetups? I mean, what's happening?" And I went, so
Yeah,
there's somebody else that's
it
at
was
least on the
fortuitous.
same wavelength as me. So I reached out to him and said, "Hey," and I told him what
Yeah.
what I just said about gather all and this and that. And my brother's a member of Capital Royale,
hmm
who's they basically we were inspired by them. We
Yeah,
looked at
from
what they were
DC.
doing and
Yeah,
said, let's do what they're doing.
yeah.
We're not ripping them off or
No, but
anything.
a
We
Los
love those
Angeles
guys.
based, yeah, theme to it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I've seen online too a couple of places and podcasts have started mentioning us and talking about Capital Royale and
yeah.
saying that this was never intentional on our part or Capital's part, but uh, people are referring to us now as sister clubs,
Which is nice. Yeah,
East
yeah,
Coast, West Coast, which is cool. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
literally, and it's just kind of cool that it worked out like that. But yeah, and also because I remember we were driving back, I think, from Gatherall, going up to either my parents or driving back to my brother's before I flew back to LA
Hmm.
this past summer, and we were talking back and forth, and I was asking him, so, what kind of stuff does Capital Royale do? And they had done things like Golf Finger, where they did
Yeah.
like, mini golf, and they got to, just get together, have drinks, and just do fun stuff and talk Bond, and it's just sounded very, hey man, that's exactly what I
Yeah.
would love to do, but nobody was doing it. So
Yeah.
you and I kind of looked at each other and went, well, we should kind of put our heads together and
Yeah.
and do this.
I mean,
And
yeah, it's worked out. You have
it
to have
has, yeah.
dedication to find people. I mean, so I mean, I've had to hammer down and find people online and get really analytical about, we're reaching out to people and putting them on our
Yeah.
master list. So it's been working out. So I'm pretty
Well,
proud of
the
it.
cool
It's
thing too is
yeah,
with our Instagram page,
yeah,
because we've got a Facebook presence, but social media wise, we're mostly active on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah. There's a lot of people that come to them.
And yeah, we've gotten quite a few from all
Yeah,
over the world.
yeah,
And that's the cool thing about the club is you don't have to. There's no membership
yeah.
fee.
Just show up.
You don't even have to, yeah, and you don't even have to live in LA. If you want to be considered like a member of, you can tell people, yeah, I'm a member of To Live and Let Die in LA, the
Yeah,
Los Angeles Fan Club. Just shoot us an email
yeah,
and get put on our mailing list, and there you go. That's how we count our members,
yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
is through the
Yeah.
mailing list, not through anything. I mean, yeah, that's we have followers and folks like that on Instagram, and but we don't count membership that way, the official.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
there's
it's hard
like I
to keep
said, there's
track of
there's
them.
no
Yeah.
like card or anything. Yeah, but that's the easiest way for us to kind of keep track of everybody and yeah, and also too, if like we'll do events like happy hours and hopefully in between what we want to do in between our screenings because they're every other month
Hmm.
we'll do things like we haven't set anything up for next month yet, but we like we've mentioned before, we've done happy hours and
Hmm.
like trivia nights and stuff, and we'll do those things again. But we also want to do, we want to do a little outing maybe
Yeah.
to we were talking to Richard
Yeah,
Maybaum's
maybe.
grave. He's buried here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was thinking
And I
about that
believe
for next
Cubby
month.
Cubby Broccoli is
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he's in the Hollywood Hills at Forest Lawn
Mhm.
actually. So yeah, there's not tons of Bond people out here like that have their resting place here, but there are some. So it's I think you don't want people to get like lost. You know, the average person may not know who Richard Maibaum is, but I
Yeah.
believe he's one of the best screenwriters of all time.
Oh,
So we'd like to maybe show our appreciation. So
yeah.
you know.
I I've for a little bit, I worked professionally as a screenwriter, and I didn't know as a kid what a screenwriter did
Hmm.
until, and the first time I ever had the idea of, oh wow, so
Yeah.
that's what a screenwriter does. Is there
Mm.
was an issue of Starlog
Oh
when
yeah.
they announced, because I used to read Starlog, and
I
they
used to read
announced
Starlight
Timothy
too.
Dalton as, and I still
Yeah.
have these two. It's actually a post on one of my Instagrams from this past August. You just scroll through, find it.
Hmm.
I put up a bunch of pictures of because I found them at my parents' house, and it's from when Timothy Dalton uh, turned was cast as James Bond,
Hmm.
and they're doing all this. Everything was living daylights, and a couple times they brought Richard Maibaum in to be interviewed and to
That's
talk.
cool. I remember that. Yeah.
And that was the first time I went, oh, so that's what a screenwriter
Yeah.
does. It really kind of put into my
Yeah.
head like, oh, so there's like a whole, it's not just funny make 'em ups
Yeah.
and or the director just telling people kind of making it up on this. I didn't know,
Yeah.
but that really was like kind of like a
Yeah.
big sort of learning moment, and
Yeah.
it was Richard Maibaum.
Yeah. So there's tons of things here in Los Angeles to tap into. Um,
There's other things too, like in the
yeah.
past, like for example, Bond lady Gloria Hendry.
Hmm.
She performed at the Catalina Jazz Club. It was a great night of Bond
Yeah.
music. I was there, and this is before any. This is back in May. This is before we had our club going, of course.
Hmm.
And I don't even think. another big reason why we're doing this is so that we can tell people that are interested in going out and doing Bond
Yeah,
related stuff like screenings, because there will be screenings too that
yeah,
we're not associated with. Like, for example, when the new Beverly did On Her Majesty's
yeah,
Secret Service, it's just something that we can tell people about and say,
yeah,
hey, we're going to be there on this. And if you want to go, go. If
yeah,
you want to hang out, we'll be here. If you don't want to hang out, that's totally fine. But as long as Bond fans in the area know that there's Bond stuff going
yeah,
on, really cool stuff
yeah.
too.
Okay, so Steve, before we wrap it up, we have a couple things to talk about. One of the things we just wanted to go more of a deeper dive into why we chose the movies that we chose because we kind of glossed over that before. And things
Yeah.
like Doctor No, obviously it's the first one we're going to do and it's the first film, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Living
And when we met with
Daylights,
Tom, that
oh
movie
yeah.
was
Well, that was his
already in
request. Yeah,
place.
yeah, that was his
Because he
request.
said no, that when he said, well, when we he had the idea to come to us and go, oh, would you guys be interested in doing this? And
Yeah,
yeah, of course. But that was already like on the table.
yeah,
Doctor No is going to be, and symbolically, it's
which I love
perfect.
it, so it's great.
Yeah.
And Timothy,
Start with the first one.
for Living Daylights, I suggested that because I love it and I love Dalton, and I don't think he
Yeah.
gets the appreciation he deserves. And people have been saying like that's a great choice, and I just
Yeah.
rewatched it. That film is so
Great
solid.
movie.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
his performance is so great, and
Yeah,
that too.
Dalton is his two Bond movies are some of my favorite,
Yeah,
like top tier Bond movies. I remember when we were sitting at the table and you went Living Daylights, I said, sold, man,
yeah,
let's do it. It's so yeah, because I remember going to see for real quick, just when we went to the Spy Museum
mm,
in DC. I know they had more stuff here at the Peterson Museum, but when my brother and I went there to the Bond in Motion exhibit, they didn't have anything from Dalton. And,
mm,
it's a question of space and and what they have because there were other Bond exhibits happening. But I wore my License
mm.
to Kill
Oh, that's
T-shirt
great.
because I said, well, they got a Shark Tank kind of thing, so it's sort of you
Yeah,
can kind of tie that into Dalton a little bit. But anyway, yeah, we love Dalton. We're
ah,
big Timothy Dalton fans, even outside of Bond. So we definitely wanted to do a Dalton movie for the first part
yeah,
of these series this year. And yeah, super excited. That's a great like movie to start the summer off with too,
yeah.
because that's
Also,
our May screening.
yeah, it was brought to my attention by one of the members that he's not really put into revivals that much, like Timothy Dalton films. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy that we can do that. I don't know. Some
Mhm.
people still are stuck on this thing that he wasn't as good, but I don't agree with that. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
I think he's phenomenal. I think he's one of the best Bonds.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's so good, so cool.
Do
He
you remember
paved
our
the way for Craig.
Oh, 100%. Do you remember our first meeting? I think it was Brad said, who's your favorite Bond? And then who is the Bond to that represents actually the purest Bond? Do you remember that? And we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
said Connery is our favorite Bond, but the whole
yeah.
table said Dalton represents
Dalton
who is
immediately.
really
Yeah.
from the books and all, like who
Hmm.
actually had the core. So, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like I've never been asked that question, and it was
And a
everyone had
lot
the
of it,
exact same answer. So,
yeah, it's funny too, because a lot of us also brought up that when we read Fleming and we go back and we reread Fleming,
yeah,
it's always just kind of you don't even think about it. Your mental image of Bond in those books kind of is just always magically morphs into Timothy Dalton because in
yeah.
his movies that's what he was doing. He was doing the literary
Yeah.
interpretation more than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he looks the most like him too. Like you said, he looks like the most like him out of them all. Not knocking the Bonds. I love all of
Oh
them,
no, yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just but
There's
um
no you won't get any negativity really from us. We love it all.
yeah,
Yes, some movies are better than others, but they're all Bond and we love them all. And that's why, for real quick, not to gloss over Thunderball, but our
oh
July
yeah,
movie Thunderball, that's a 60th anniversary
oh yeah.
movie. And of
Come in
course
costume. We should all
Oh
have
yeah,
costumes.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna have. I'm definitely gonna be in my cabana wear. I've got some Thunderball inspired outfits in a while. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so
He has the
definitely
blue outfit in
show
that
up in
one.
your
He has
and if
that
you
blue. Yeah.
it's not Goldfinger, but if you got the blue terry cloth romper, wear it. We'd love to see it. Everybody would love to see it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and being July, that'll be the perfect time for that movie with all
Yeah.
the underwater frolicking and action and
Yeah.
uh the location. It's that's the perfect time to do that movie.
Yeah.
So really excited. Hopefully we're going to work on some stuff. Won't say anything yet,
Yeah. I don't
just
want to
because
say anything. I was
very
thinking that in
everything
my
is
head, but I don't want.
yeah,
I
everything
don't want
is
to put it
so
out
very
there.
preliminary, but we are going to work on hopefully maybe having a few surprises for some folks for some, not any specific movie, but maybe for a few of them. Who knows?
Living Daylights. I started something yesterday with somebody, so hopefully somebody may show
Uh,
up at that. It's not going to be Timothy Dalton, but
no.
don't think he would come.
I spoke with Tim last week, and he
Oh, you did?
said,
Okay.
"Who the hell is this? How did you get this bloody number?" So and then that conversation was over.
Hmm.
But no, but a few people have asked because we're doing Die Another Day.
After
We're
Thunderball,
showing
yeah,
we're
yeah,
showing a little, yeah. So that's our when is that? September.
yes,
That's the September movie, and
yeah.
we're
Well, if we're
so we're
bringing this up
showing.
because I told you what someone said to me. Remember, I said,
And that's not, and few people have brought up, hey, wait a
yeah,
second.
I've been getting the brunt of like
We're doing
people.
if there's four movies that are celebrating milestone anniversaries
Mhm,
this year, and we are doing two of them with After Die Another Day, our last movie of the year, before we break for the holidays, is going to be A View to a Kill in
mhm.
November, like we mentioned before. But a few folks have been scratching their head about, wait a second, GoldenEye is celebrating its, was it 30th
30th, yeah,
anniversary. So
it was
why are
95.
you doing Die Another Day instead of GoldenEye? Well, it's also a matter of we just did GoldenEye in the
We
Culver
didn't, but the
Theater.
theater did. Yeah,
We didn't. Yeah, they
yeah,
to credit, but the Culver Theater just screened GoldenEye very successfully too.
yeah,
Had
yeah,
a great turnout, and that was this past November.
yeah.
And that was kind of an anniversary screening, really. It was sort of kind
They
of
were
getting a
celebrating the
jump on
90s,
it.
I think. I think that's what it was, right?
I think that's what it was. I'm
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I think. Um, but yeah,
They're
we
not
don't
going to
really
let
we
us
didn't want to.
screen. They're not going to let us screen it so close. That's like they just
Yeah,
independently of us just screen Goldfinger, and I'm getting people saying why we're not doing Goldfinger. It's the same thing. The theater won't. They don't want to show these films because they just screened them. So that's
yeah,
just the
and
reason.
that was Neil and I weren't able to go to that event, unfortunately. Some of our members did go. They had a great time.
But that
It
wasn't
looked
our
like a lot
thing.
of fun.
Yeah, that
Yeah, but
wasn't
that
our.
was the Culver Theater. That was in partnership with the Culver Hotel. They have a
Yeah,
separate film series, and that's somebody had also mentioned too about uh, confusing the price of that film series with
yeah,
the price of ours. It's different. That's a different thing that
yeah.
involves
A party.
appetizers, cocktails, party at the co. And I we highly recommend that. We encourage you guys
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah,
It's cool. If you've
yeah,
never been to the Culver Hotel or hung out there,
yeah.
it's a cool spot,
But they're
man.
doing
Yeah. So
non-bond. But they're doing non-bond films now.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
but they started with Goldfinger,
yeah.
but I think the next one is Fistful of Dollars,
Mhm.
and funnily enough, I think they're doing To Live and Let Die in
They are.
L.A.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
Or
did
no,
see
To
it.
Live and Die in
To
L.A.
Live and
Sorry,
Die.
I'm
Yeah,
confused. Yeah, see, our club name is a kind of it's a cheeky little mashup
it's
of
the William Friedkin
Live and
movie,
Let
right?
Die, of
Yeah,
course, and To Live and Die
yeah,
in L.A., which my brother, we mentioned earlier, the style is my bond, Chris. He's the guy that came up with the name. He goes, "Why don't you guys call it this?" And he came up with that, and I thought, okay, you know what? Yeah, let's. It's L.A. It's a Hollywood town.
yeah. There you go.
We're all movie people. Most folks get it. There's a few that don't. There's a few people that don't
Yeah,
quite understand, but just about everybody gets it and they appreciate it. But to come back around to how we kind of pick these movies. That's
Mm,
how we did it. We picked a few. We said, let's just do two anniversary movies. And also since GoldenEye was screened so close to us starting this, that's why we didn't do that one.
mm.
And Spectre is celebrating 10 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of a baby. It's still a little young.
They said they wanted to let it wait a
Yeah.
bit. So, and
We're letting that one marinate still. I know that Kyle Barbeau and David Zaritsky, they just put out a great video about Spectre, the great Spectre debate.
I have to
And
rewatch that. I
yeah,
haven't seen it in a bit. So,
that's a fun video. Those guys are a lot of fun. And they love especially Zaritsky. He loves Spectre. So there's
yeah.
gonna be a lot of and there's a lot of people that do love that movie. I just rewatched it the other day. Every Bond movie, if you don't really like it right away when you first see it,
Mm,
you're just not in the mood for it yet. Give it some time.
yeah.
It'll, like Die Another Day. I used to not like that movie a whole lot. I have so much fun with it now
I,
whenever
I
I watch it, and
I
that's
have
one
a
we're looking forward
I
to.
have a funny thing. Sorry about Spectre. The week Spectre came out, and then a week we can go on to something else. The week Spectre came out, my wife, she works at a private school. I'm not going to say what the school is, but
Uh-huh.
um, uh, a certain actor that played Blofeld in that film, his kid went to the school. So that day, I was working at the school at the time. I don't work there now, but I did. And literally, I went out to just have like my soda in the morning before the kids came. And it's a high school. And
Mm.
literally, it was foggy. And the fog, and this was the day Spectre opened, actually. The fog opened up on the campus. And Christoph Waltz walks out of the fog towards me because his kid was on campus. And he actually went, "Good morning." And I was like, "Good morning." And it took everything within me not to just be like, ah, because I knew I didn't know he was Blofeld, but I knew he was going to be Blofeld. But that's a
Yeah.
true story. He literally walked out of atmospheric fog, like on the So yeah. So anyway,
Cool.
that's my interaction with
That's a
Christoph
great
Waltz.
story. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah. But yeah, that's our reasons. I mean, also we'll move on,
It's
but
not that we don't like the movie or appreciate the movie. Just, there's
can't
only X
front
amount
load
of
them.
slots
We
per
we can't
year.
front load them. We just
And
can't
yeah,
front. So
yeah. And
so
Spectre, we're gonna get to Spectre. Don't worry,
yeah,
we'll get to Spectre and the other Craigs because all we all think here. We have with the mantra of every Bond movie, whether they're the best
yeah.
or you maybe one that's not one of your favorites. They've all got amazing things in them.
Mm,
They all have merit,
yeah.
and we're gonna celebrate all of them. Even never say never again.
So you guys got to go because the more you go, they will screen them all, but you got to go. So
Yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah. And
They
hey,
want to screen them all. They'll do it for
for
4 years.
15.49, what more could anyone ask?
They will. They have told us they will. This will be a 4 year project if people go.
Yeah,
So and they will
yeah.
do it. So please come. So but
And tell your friends, tell you, and you know
tell your
what? Like we mentioned
grandmother.
before,
Yeah,
even if you guys don't want to, like, because we always encourage everybody to come out and do the screening or do whatever event
or come to the club.
we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
and hang out with us and say
yeah.
hello and have a drink or two
Mhm.
and even if you guys, like we said before, if you don't want to, if you just want to come to the movie, yeah, it's totally fine. But
Yeah,
yeah, but come to the movie. Come
yeah,
and have fun and get some popcorn and have a
yeah.
cocktail and watch Bond on the big screen and we'll keep
That's
doing it. It's
yeah,
I mean, yes, we love doing this stuff, but we're also primarily doing it for you guys
yeah, yeah,
so that Bond fans have, hey, wow, cool. There's something to look forward to
yeah,
once a month at least, and every other month,
yeah.
a movie that you can go to.
Oh, yeah.
Bond on the big screen.
From
Should we
Culver
uh should we
from
should we
Culver with
wrap
Love.
it up
The
with some of the news, the elephant in
news.
the
Here, I'll type
room?
in the news. I was just thinking that expression actually. Okay, let me type in the news. Dun, 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 and the news update. Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to like say it, but Amazon with Bond, and it's
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, many people have spoken about this before us,
Oh
but
yeah.
I mean, I'm very optimistic. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm just
Mhm.
happy that there's going to be a Bond film in the near future, hopefully 2 to 3 years from now. I don't care. I'm just very happy. It's also a time. Well, like for example, I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and when there's a new Doctor, it kind of like freshens things up. It regenerates. Well, that's the expression, but it regenerates the brand, and that's I'm very excited for that. I think it's gonna be a whole new Bond, and I'm an optimistic person. So
It's always better to also too if you approach something with they're gonna get it wrong and
how do we know
well
that it
yeah
might be perfect? I mean, so
yeah because I remember before Casino Royale came out, man, everybody was
oh yeah,
just
they were
not happy.
crucifying Craig. Remember,
Yeah, and now it's
like
everybody's
top three
like top
movies.
three or number one Bond
Yeah,
movie, and people love that movie. And even if they're not that crazy about, the rest of Craig's tenure, people can't deny
yeah,
that for Casino Royale is an incredible movie. I mean, for
yeah.
me, it's like a
No,
top
it is great.
five Bond movie. It's so good, and so yeah, the only way you can here's the thing: we don't have a say.
Yeah, we
we
don't.
we can we can when we all go, oh, they should be doing this, that, and the other. And I mean, yeah, maybe they're listening to people's podcasts or to social media or stuff, but at the same time, I kind of hope that whoever's put in place to take the mantle, because these are big shoes to fill, man. Even if
Yeah,
it stayed in the family, even if it stayed Eon
yeah,
Productions. And I understand the gut punch of, oh, it's not a family business anymore. And because it was like the last one. It was the big, like the kind
yeah,
of granddaddy of all action
yeah.
adventure franchises, 63 years. And it's been in the Broccoli family, and now it's not. And so, yeah, that was kind of, takes the air out
Yeah,
of
I
your
mean,
lungs.
that
But
morning I woke up and I turned my phone
yeah,
on and I was like, "What?" But I mean,
I mean,
my
it's
next,
historic news.
yeah, it is. I mean, but my next thought afterwards, and I told you this was like, well, it opens the floodgates now. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so
And I had that same thought. It was like, well, you know what? We haven't had, like you mentioned before, we haven't had a Bond movie in
yeah,
how many years? And we've only had in the last two Bond movies
10 years.
came out within like 10 years of each
Yeah,
other, which is a long,
yeah,
long time. So now, I mean, yeah, Edgar Wright had mentioned one of the reasons why the Bond franchise is so precious is because it's not diluted with spin-offs and this and that and the other. And who knows what they'll do. And it might end up being great because guys, we've had actually you don't realize it, or some folks might, but I put some thought into this recently, going, well, there's been video games
yeah,
for years, and there's been James Bond Jr., and there's
yeah.
been the BBC audio
Oh
dramas,
yeah,
which do period adaptations,
and
full
the
cast
Fleming
adaptations
publications, they do their own
of
books. Yeah,
yeah, the Fleming publications are doing their own books, and
yeah,
people like them. People
yeah,
are really digging them.
yeah,
There's a Q series.
yeah.
There's
The Money
comic
Penny.
books.
Yeah,
There's already, for better or for worse, there's already tons of media
hmm
outside of just the Bond movies and Fleming's novels. There's the continuation novels.
yeah,
There's a whole series of authors from the time of after Fleming
yeah.
had passed away. There was like books in the 70s and
Colonel Sun. Yeah, that.
Colonel
Yeah,
Sun. I
yeah.
forgot who wrote that, but yeah, but they're before
Kingsley
like Raymond
Amos.
Benson.
Kingsley
Yeah,
Amos.
yeah,
Kingsley
that's
Amos.
right. Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. It just came in my head.
Because
Yeah,
no, because I would not have remembered that. Thank you.
yeah,
But
yeah. Sorry, that just I was like, okay, that's
yeah,
what it is. Okay, yeah,
but no, but yeah, it's there's already tons of stuff out there.
yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of us guys out there doing podcasts, and there's tons and tons and tons and tons of James Bond related things that you can soak up that aren't the movie
yeah,
or aren't any of the movies. So I have confidence
yeah,
that James Bond is strong enough as an
yeah,
icon and as a character that he can weather and has weathered any storm,
yeah,
any change of, when popular culture may look like it's, the guys that grew up on Sean Connery were probably
yeah,
looking at when A View to a Kill came out, looking at Christopher Walken and Grace Jones going, oh, what the heck?
yeah.
These weird, like rock and roll, like new wave,
hmm
it's just that's part of what makes Bond exciting too for me is, oh, how is it going to read in our modern times? And of course there's talks of, oh, are they going to make it period, or who knows what they'll do. The
hmm
only thing that I know they're going to do is they're going to do James Bond,
Yeah,
and all we can do is in you know I everybody's going to have their own reaction to it. My reaction, instead of going, well, I hope they do this, that, and the other, like, I have no idea who they're going to cast.
Hmm.
I don't have any theories as to who they're going to cast. I don't have a favorite
Yeah.
what if
Yeah.
actor who they're going to cast. They're going to cast who they're going to cast. And it's our job as Bond fans and people that are like supporting
Mm.
these endeavors and the creative people that make these
Yeah.
movies and write these books and do the games and comics and whatever to say, hey man, let's give it your best shot.
I
And
mean, it's
I hope it all
support
yeah I
it.
yeah because
If you don't support it and these things end, then that's like,
yeah, these things go away, and then
yeah,
what are you gonna get? What are you gonna talk about, right? Just keep talking about the same 25 movies over and over again. No, let's have a 26th, let's have a 27th, let's have a
yeah,
28th, and let's hope that this happens. That all happens in the next like handful of years, so that the franchise can continue growing and
yeah,
you gets more fans. And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, look, times change and people get older, and the new Bond is going to be younger than the last Bond is going to
yeah,
be, and and eventually, like us with us guys, pretty soon James Bond, the guys they cast are going to be younger than us. When we were
yeah,
growing up, the Bond was always older than us, and that's just part of life. And it's also, instead of getting kind of, oh, it's not like it used to be. It's no, let's have some positivity and look forward to some new and exciting adventures that they could do. They could
yeah,
do anything really, because the world's kind of nuts. So maybe James Bond can get a little kooky, or maybe it'll get simple. Maybe it'll go back
yeah.
and like some people are saying, maybe it will be a period piece. Who knows? Who knows?
There's a quote from George Harrison where he says, "People tell me I'm the Beatle that has changed the most," but he said, like, I don't see that as a bad thing because you have to change, and change is good. I mean, we don't like change sometimes, but
Yeah,
I think, I mean, there's only a handful of timeless characters that are always current. There's
yeah,
not many that are always of the now. There's only
yeah,
like three or four like fantasy characters, and he definitely is
yeah,
one of them. And um, so I think it's good. I'm optimistic, but I'm an optimistic person. But I don't like to read.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
been a little avalanche of negativity on social media
yeah.
about it. So, and I just don't want
I,
to
I I
go
think
for
a lot
that.
of that too
Yeah,
has to be because people love the character so much.
yeah,
It's
I get
it's
it.
not it's not just necessarily for the sake of, oh, I want to be mad at something today.
No, I know, I get it.
It's we everyone, all of us are,
Yeah,
you and me, everyone who's listening to this and who
yeah,
people we're friends with and talk to, members and everyone around the world who loves James Bond. You love James Bond, you're invested. He
yeah,
feels, and the people that have made these movies, the actors and the people behind the scenes feel like a part of the family. You've
yeah,
grown up with them. You've grown up with the behind the scenes stories. And when you're feeling down or sad, like right now I got, it's raining and drizzly and kind of
yeah.
a glum day in LA today. So I put on The Spy Who Loved Me
Wow,
because it's a very bright and blue
it
looking movie,
is.
but it's also very wet. So it felt very
Yeah,
appropriate.
yeah,
And it lifts my spirits. And everybody can look at this and go, they're like Alan Partridge, stop getting Bond wrong. But
yeah,
really what it is it's all of us individually. If we each had our say as to, well, how would you make a James Bond movie? There would be a million different
it would never
James
get
Bond
done. It would never
out
get done.
there. And yeah, it would never get done for a start. But if we all individually were able to make our own James Bond movies with the magic of,
Hmm.
computer or whatever, I don't want to say it, but there would be a million different
Yeah.
James Bond actors and stories and moods and vibes and one of the things I love about James Bond and why I don't really have a favorite, like
Hmm.
Roger Moore was my Bond as a kid.
Yeah.
We're the same age, so he was our Bond because he was James Bond
Yeah.
when
He
we
was
were
on
kids.
HBO constantly too.
Yeah, he was on HBO constantly. He was
Yeah.
still his movies were still in the
Yeah.
movie theaters,
Yeah.
and so but for me it's like, well, there's a Bond for every mood.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling like a dangerous kind of, espionage sort of, you got Dalton, you got From Russia with Love, you've got,
Yeah.
Casino Royale Craig, you've got the kind of tougher ones. If you want something that's maybe a little on the sillier side, you've got Diamonds Are Forever,
Yeah.
you've something over the top. There's Moonraker, there's Spy Who Loved Me with the submarine car. There's all kinds of vibes and moods and just different like a bond for every day of the week
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And it goes with the actors and the directors and the music. And I hope they bring David Arnold back.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll
But
see.
yeah, it's one of the great things about this franchise is that it's got so much range
Yeah.
that you don't want it to get stagnant or stuck.
Yeah.
And this, yeah, it was a shocking historic announcement, but it's also, I think it shook it up, and I think I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah. Me
I'm
too.
excited. I'm excited.
And
I
what
wish whoever has the job of having to
cares?
face
Yeah.
the mob
Yeah.
with the announcements and this, that, and the other, man, I don't know if I envy you,
Yeah.
but holy cow, man.
Yeah.
Like all the best.
Yeah. I know.
You
I agree with you, man. But we should wrap it up.
Yes.
I mean, I could talk about this for hours with you, but I don't think
I
people
know,
want to
yeah.
listen to it, like I said, for
Yeah, I
hours.
know.
But so yeah, so come to the screening. The first one is Tuesday, March 25th at the Culver Theater at 7 o'clock. If you want more information, you can write us at liveandlet007@gmail.com. That's liveandlet007@gmail.com. We'll put it into the notes. Yeah, but man, I think this was a successful first podcast. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's pretty good too. I'm always you guys if you guys follow us on social media and you've seen my own personal Instagram page, I'm a little goofball,
yeah,
and I can kind of dive
yeah,
off into different. So I'm always worried that I'm somehow going to veer us into strange, unexplored directions
yeah.
like I'm doing right now. But I think we were okay.
I think we're good. All right, man. We'll come back next month. We got. I'm just watching the countdown clock right now, but
Sweet.
we're doing
Neil
good.
Neil is the guy that will keep us all on task.
Yay! But this has been great, guys. Come to the screenings. We'll talk to you guys soon. Uh,
Yeah.
Thumbs up, man. Okay, man. Thanks a
All
lot.
right, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. I'm gonna have my drink. There you go. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
All the people down Kingston Town, all the people go jump up